What if I told you that somewhere, hidden beneath the noise of your daily routine, lies a version of you so sharp, so disciplined, so powerful, that if you met them today, you wouldn't believe you came from the same body? What if I told you that this version could be built in just 30 days, if you dared to confront the truth about who you are right now? Welcome back to American Wall Street. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel so we have the motivation to continue bringing you more transformative videos like this one. Most people spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment to reinvent themselves, never realizing that reinvention doesn't happen in a year or 6 months or after a milestone. It happens in a single decision, a decision to redraw the blueprint of who you are and who you're willing to become. And that is exactly where your 30-day transformation begins. Not with actions, not with habits, but with identity. Jim Rohn used to say that when you know exactly who you want to become, you've already traveled half the distance. But that sentence is so often misunderstood. This isn't about daydreaming or visualizing yourself vaguely succeeding. This is about defining, with surgical clarity, the new identity you will embody for the next 30 days. Because without identity, every change is temporary. With identity, every change becomes inevitable. So ask yourself, quietly and courageously, who do you want to be at the end of these 30 days? Not what job you want, not how much money you want, not how many goals you want to hit, but who you want to be. Picture your mornings. Do you wake at 5 a.m., alert, composed, and in command of your day? Or do you wake late, rush through the chaos, scrolling through notifications before you even breathe consciously? Picture your meals. Are they clean, deliberate choices that fuel a higher performing body and mind? Or are they reactions, quick fixes, impulsive comforts, temporary distractions? And most importantly, picture your focus. Does your time belong to you, guarded with intention? Or does every noise, every message, every request pull you away from the life you secretly wish you had the courage to build? For the next 30 days, your first mission is to craft the clearest possible portrait of the person you want to become. Take away the ambiguity. Replace it with detail. Discipline is not a wish. It is a character trait. Success is not a fantasy. It is a decision. Meaningful change does not arrive by accident. It is engineered. Write down the core characteristics of your new identity. 3 to 5 traits that define your upgraded self. Perhaps you become the person who wakes at 5 a.m. every day without fail. The person who completes the most important task before 10 a.m. The person who reads every night, no matter how busy or tired. The person whose time cannot be stolen. The person whose actions mirror their values, not their moods. And here's the truth that most people never understand. You don't become this person on day 30. You become them today, in this moment, right now. Transformation is not a future event. It's a present decision reinforced daily. Every habit you build later will depend entirely on whether this new identity is clear, powerful, and compelling enough to guide you through discomfort, temptation, and old patterns that want to pull you back. This is why identity comes first. Without it, the next 30 days will feel like pushing a boulder uphill. With it, every choice becomes easier, because you only have to ask yourself one question. What would the person I want to become do in this moment? That question becomes your compass, your filter, your silent mentor. If you take this seriously, if you truly commit to embodying your new identity, you will notice something remarkable. Your decisions start aligning themselves. Your behaviors begin shifting without force. Discipline stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like alignment. That is the invisible power of identity-driven change. And that is why this first step, though simple, might be the most important step of your entire journey. Now it's your turn to step into the arena with a new name, a new standard, a new self. The next 30 days will not wait for you. The question is, will you wait for them? Before we move to the next part of the journey, here's a question for you. Answer it in the comments. If you had to choose one foundation for lasting transformation, which one would you pick? A. Changing your actions first. B. Changing your identity first. Comment A or B below. There comes a moment in every transformation where the truth becomes impossible to avoid. You can design the most extraordinary identity in the world, but if your daily life is still built upon the same foundation of old habits, nothing will change. A new identity cannot survive in an environment shaped by the past. And that is why the second step of your 30-day evolution requires something far more uncomfortable, far more honest, and far more powerful than motivation. It requires removal, not addition, not improvement. Removal. Because before you can rise, you must release. Most people fail to transform not because they lack ambition, but because they refuse to confront the invisible behaviors that quietly drain their potential. They keep carrying outdated habits into a life that demands a higher standard, like someone trying to reach a mountaintop while gripping the weight of yesterday. You cannot climb toward a new future when your hands are full of the past. So ask yourself, without excuses, without softening the truth, what are the habits that are holding you in place? Not the obvious failures, but the subtle ones. The habits that don't ruin a day in one moment, but ruin a life slowly, silently, consistently. Perhaps the first one is your relationship with your phone, the unconscious scrolling, the compulsive checking, the lost minutes that quietly become lost hours. It seems harmless, it feels relaxing, but it steals more from you than you realize. It steals attention, depth, presence, and the mental stillness required for any meaningful progress. It takes and takes until you no longer notice what you are losing. Or maybe the habit that weakens you most is the tendency to complain, to find reasons why things cannot change instead of finding ways they can. Complaints are a mental rehearsal of powerlessness. Every time you explain why life is unfair, why things are difficult, why the world has not given you enough, you reinforce a story that leaves you smaller than you were before. It becomes a loop, a familiar, comfortable loop that keeps you from taking responsibility for the day, the hour, the moment that is right in front of you. Then there is the habit of staying up too late, giving away the quality of tomorrow for the pleasure of tonight, the comfort of one more episode, one more video, one more distraction. It feels like freedom, but it is the opposite. It is debt. A debt you repay every morning with fatigue, irritation, and a mind too foggy to build anything meaningful. These habits are not harmless. They are the silent architects of mediocrity. And until you acknowledge them, you will return to them. Until you remove them, they will limit you. This is the part of the journey where you must become brutally honest with yourself, not to punish, but to liberate. Because once you see these habits clearly, you gain the power to replace them. Not with vague aspirations, but with precise, intentional alternatives that elevate your days instead of eroding them. If you once spent 20, 30, 60 minutes scrolling, you now redirect that same time into reading, into feeding your mind ideas, strategies, and perspectives that expand your capacity instead of numbing it. If you used to complain at the end of each day, you now sit down for 5 quiet minutes and write 3 things you are grateful for, training your mind to see opportunities instead of obstacles. If you once stayed awake out of boredom or restlessness, you now commit to completing one important task early each morning, a task that gives your day a sense of momentum before the world even wakes. These replacements are not symbolic. They are structural. They change the architecture of your days, which ultimately changes the architecture of your life. But they only work when you accept a fundamental truth. It is impossible to create space for something new without releasing something old. And yes, the process will feel uncomfortable. You will feel the pull of your familiar habits, the phantom weight of routines you no longer want, but still crave. The brain clings to the familiar, even when it harms you. But do not mistake discomfort for failure. Discomfort is the first signal of transformation. It is the sound of old patterns cracking, making space for something stronger to take form. Over the next 30 days, imagine yourself as a gardener, tending to the soil of your own life. Before you plant new seeds, you must remove the weeds that choke them. Before growth can take root, the ground must be cleared. And this clearing, the removal, the honesty, the discomfort, is not punishment, it is liberation. It is the first taste of freedom from the habits that have quietly shaped your life without your permission. You are not erasing your past. You are clearing space for your future. And when the space is clear, even before new habits have fully formed, you will feel something shift deep within you. A sense of lightness, a sense of capability, a sense of possibility. This is the moment when transformation truly begins. Not when you add something new, but when you finally let go. There is a turning point in every transformation where intention must collide with structure. Identity gives you direction. Removing old habits clears the space. But without a deliberate framework to live inside each day, even the strongest motivation dissolves into chaos. This is where most people lose their momentum. They underestimate the power of a well-designed day. They try to build a new life on top of random actions, unpredictable routines, and emotional impulses. But a life without structure is a life surrendered to chance. And chance has never built anything extraordinary. To change your life, you must design your day with the precision of an architect. You must create a rhythm that supports your new identity instead of contradicting it. Jim Rohn used to say that you should run your day, or your day will run you. The truth is harsher than it sounds. If you do not take control of your time from the moment you wake, the world will gladly take it from you, minute by minute, distraction by distraction, demand by demand. So the first step in reclaiming your power is to redesign your mornings, not to make them perfect, but to make them yours. The early hours hold a kind of silence the rest of the world cannot give you. When you rise at 5, the mind is untouched, unpulled, unbroken by the noise of the day. What you choose to do in those hours becomes the foundation on which every other decision rests. Move your body to awaken strength. Sit in stillness to awaken clarity. Read or study to awaken possibility. Eat intentionally to awaken energy. These acts are not tasks on a list. They are signals to your mind that you are no longer living on autopilot. You are choosing who you become. But your morning is only the beginning. The real test of your discipline unfolds in the hours that follow. From 8 to noon, your focus must narrow to the few tasks that matter most, not the many tasks that keep you busy. Choose 3 significant actions that move your life forward, 3 commitments that match the identity you are building. When these are done daily, they create disproportionate momentum. Momentum that compounds, momentum that reshapes your sense of capability. Turn off your notifications. Close every unnecessary tab. Dedicate these hours to deep work, the kind of work that demands your full presence. When your mind wanders, return to your intention, not with judgment, but with conviction. As the afternoon arrives, your energy shifts. This is natural. This is human. Instead of resisting it, design for it. Use these hours to communicate, coordinate, support, or handle administrative responsibilities. Tasks of motion, not creation. Give yourself a brief break to breathe, step outside, or reset your nervous system. A 5-minute pause can restore an hour of clarity if used wisely. The evening is where a different kind of discipline begins, the discipline of renewal. Too many people believe discipline only means doing more, but true discipline also means knowing when to stop. Spend time with people who matter. Let your body unwind. Move gently, read lightly, prepare for the next day with intention rather than anxiety, and commit to sleeping early, not as a restriction, but as an investment in tomorrow's potential. But even the most beautifully crafted daily structure will collapse without something deeper, the discipline to follow it. Discipline is not a mood. It is not excitement. It is not something you wait to feel. Discipline is the decision to act in alignment with your identity, regardless of comfort, temptation, or emotion. It is the quiet force that carries you through moments when motivation evaporates. It is the bridge between who you are and who you are capable of becoming. Each time you overcome the urge to delay, each time you choose the harder path, each time you honor the schedule you created for yourself, you reinforce a message in your subconscious. I can trust myself. And self-trust is the engine of transformation. Without it, you collapse at the first sign of discomfort. With it, you become unstoppable. Remember this truth. Greatness is not born from extraordinary days. It is born from ordinary days executed with extraordinary consistency. What you repeatedly do shapes your identity more than what you occasionally dream about. Your daily structure is not confinement. It is liberation. It frees you from confusion, from decision fatigue, from emotional turbulence. It places your life on rails that carry you forward, even when you feel tired, doubtful, or overwhelmed. Over these 30 days, you are not just following a schedule. You are building a system that protects your time, strengthens your mind, and honors your new identity. A system that makes discipline easier and excuses harder. A system that transforms every day into evidence of your commitment. Design your day with intention. live it with discipline, and soon your days will begin to design the person you become. There is a truth about personal growth that very few people are willing to face. You cannot build a powerful life on top of a weakened body or a restless, unfocused mind. You can design your schedule with precision. You can sculpt your identity with intention. But if your energy is inconsistent and your mental clarity is unstable, your progress will always collapse under its own weight. This is why the fourth stage of your 30-day transformation demands that you elevate the two engines that drive every decision you make, your body and your mind. Without them, discipline is fragile. With them, discipline becomes effortless. Your body is the vehicle that carries every dream you have. It is the machine that turns thought into action, intention into movement, vision into reality. Yet so many people treat their bodies as afterthoughts, fueling them with convenience rather than care, pushing them past their limits, or ignoring the signals that something within them is running on empty. But you cannot expect high performance from a system running on low-quality fuel. You cannot demand clarity from a brain exhausted by poor sleep. You cannot build consistency on top of tiredness, irritability, and depletion. The body and mind are not separate. They are partners, intertwined, each amplifying or weakening the other. So during these 30 days, you must begin with nourishment, not dieting, not restriction, nourishment. Food is information. Every choice you make tells your body what kind of energy to produce. Whole foods, clean proteins, healthy fats, minerals, and vitamins, these are not luxuries. They are prerequisites for mental sharpness, emotional stability, and physical resilience. When you begin to eat with intention, you send a message to yourself. I am preparing for a life that requires strength, and your body responds in kind. Movement follows the same principle. Movement is not punishment, it is activation. It is how you awaken the dormant potential stored in your muscles, your lungs, your heart. When you walk, run, stretch, lift, or breathe deeply, you are not just exercising. You are clearing the mental fog that once made you feel stuck. You are teaching your body to show up for you so your mind can do the same. Even 20 or 30 minutes a day is enough to reset your state, sharpen your focus, and release the tension that distracts you from what matters. And then there is sleep, the most underestimated pillar of human performance. Many people sacrifice sleep for productivity, not realizing that they are trading long-term success for short-term illusion. Sleep is where the brain restores itself. It is where your emotions reset, your memory strengthens, your creativity expands, your discipline regenerates. Without deep, consistent sleep, your willpower erodes, your patience shortens, your energy fades, and your ability to follow through becomes unpredictable. Prioritize sleep not because it feels good, but because it enables everything else to function at a higher level. Once your body begins to support your goals rather than oppose them, your attention turns to the mind. The mind is not a vessel you fill once and declare complete. It is soil, alive, changing, receptive to whatever seeds you plant in it. If you feed it negativity, it grows weeds. If you feed it wisdom, it grows possibility. Learning is how you cultivate that soil. Jim Rohn said formal education may help you make a living, but self-education can help you make a fortune. And he was not only speaking of money. He meant a fortune of perspective, confidence, awareness, and depth. When you commit to reading each day, when you listen to a thoughtful mentor, study a skill, or absorb something that elevates your thinking, you begin to upgrade the mental software that guides your decisions. You begin to expand beyond the limits of your past experiences. Yet knowledge alone is not enough. The mind must also be quieted to function fully. This is where stillness becomes essential. Meditation does not require incense, rituals, or silence unbroken by sound. It only requires presence. A few minutes of slow breathing, a return to the body, a moment of watching your own thoughts instead of drowning in them. In those moments, your mind unclutters itself, revealing clarity that was always there but hidden under noise. Journal writing completes the cycle. When you translate your thoughts, fears, insights, and intentions into words, you turn abstract emotion into something visible and understandable. It is a form of emotional organization. It is how you track patterns, expose excuses, and celebrate your growth. Journaling sharpens your self-awareness, and self-awareness strengthens your ability to act with purpose rather than impulse. With a nourished body and a sharpened mind, you are finally ready for the next stage, breaking down your goals into daily, achievable steps. Big goals inspire, but small steps transform. The human brain does not thrive on grand ambition, it thrives on progress. So instead of trying to conquer a mountain all at once, pick up one stone every day. Read 20 pages, train 30 minutes, practice one conversation, improve one skill. Each small step is a vote for your new identity. Each consistent action becomes proof that you are no longer negotiating with your past self. And as you move through these 30 days, your energy will rise, your clarity will sharpen, your sense of control will strengthen. You will feel your life shifting from effort to alignment. Because true transformation is not built on force, it is built on capacity. And this part of the journey is where that capacity is created. There comes a moment in every transformation when the greatest threats are no longer your old habits, your lack of structure, or even your inconsistent energy. The greatest threat becomes everything that tries to pull you away from the life you are building, both from the outside world and from the quiet, persistent voice inside your own mind. This is why the fifth stage of your 30-day journey is not about doing more, but about protecting what you have already built. Growth is fragile in its early stages, and unless you safeguard it, the world will claim it back from you, one distraction at a time. Distraction is not always loud. It doesn't always arrive with urgency or drama. More often, it arrives disguised as harmless entertainment, a quick break, a small detour that quietly expands until your focus fractures. Modern life is engineered to steal your attention, to fracture it, to fragment it, to drain it until you become a passenger in your own day rather than the one steering it. If you want to live a life designed with intention, you must become a defender of your attention. Your focus is the currency with which your future is purchased, and every meaningless interruption is a withdrawal from that account. This means learning to recognize the subtle thieves of your time, the endless notifications, the impulse to check messages, the tendency to respond instantly to everyone else's priorities. These behaviors seem small, but they break the depth of your concentration, and depth is where all meaningful change begins. During these 30 days, you must create zones of full presence. Turn off what steals from you. Put distance between you and the temptations that dilute your progress. When you sit down to work, you must guard those moments like a warrior standing at the gate. The world does not get access to you simply because it asks. You choose when and how you show up. But the external world is only half the battle. The inner world is far more dangerous. Every person carries a private chorus of doubts, fears, insecurities, and outdated stories that whisper at the worst times. This internal noise can be louder than any notification. It tells you that you're not progressing fast enough, that you're not worthy of the life you're building, that slipping back into comfort would be easier. If you do not manage this voice, it will manage you. To protect your mindset, you must curate what enters it. What you read, what you watch, who you speak to, the conversations you tolerate, all of it shapes the landscape of your thoughts. If you surround yourself with negativity, you will absorb it. If you listen to people who doubt themselves, you will begin doubting yourself. Protecting your mind is an act of self-respect. Replace shallow input with meaningful input. Replace criticism with wisdom. Replace noise with clarity. And while input matters, your own internal dialogue matters even more. You must become aware of the phrases you repeat to yourself, especially in moments of stress or discouragement. Thoughts like, "I can't," "I always fail," "this is too hard," or "it won't matter anyway," are not reflections of reality. They are reflections of old identity. Each time they arise, challenge them. Speak to yourself as you would speak to someone you are responsible for uplifting. You are not a spectator to your thoughts. You are their architect. Alongside protecting your environment, you must also develop the habit of reflection. Growth is not linear. It expands and contracts, rises and dips. Some days you will feel unstoppable. Other days you will wonder if anything is changing at all. This is why you track your progress, not to judge yourself, but to remain aware. Journaling your thoughts, your wins, your challenges, the lessons you learn throughout the week allows you to see patterns that would otherwise remain invisible. It allows you to adjust intelligently rather than emotionally. Reflection transforms experience into wisdom. Yet even with all of this, focus, protection, discipline, There remains one final element that determines whether your transformation lasts: the people around you. Humans adapt to the emotional temperature of their environment. If you spend your time with people who settle, shrink, complain, and avoid responsibility, you will eventually do the same, no matter how strong your ambition. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who stretch themselves, who dream boldly, who take action even when it's uncomfortable, you will feel pulled upward by their presence. Jim Rohn famously said that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This is not a metaphor, it is a law of human behavior. Your circle is a mirror. It reflects your standards. It reflects your identity. So choose your circle intentionally. Seek out individuals who inspire you, challenge you, hold you accountable, and grow alongside you. Reduce contact with relationships that drain your energy or cloud your clarity. And most importantly, become someone who elevates others. Because when you uplift the people around you, you step into a higher version of yourself. The final stage of your transformation is not about adding anything new. It is about defending everything you have fought to build over these 30 days. Protect your time, protect your mind, protect your environment, protect your circle. Because what you protect, you preserve. And what you preserve, you strengthen. And what you strengthen becomes the foundation of the life you have always known you were capable of living. When you look back across this entire 30-day journey, a single truth begins to emerge with unmistakable clarity. Transformation is never the result of one dramatic moment. It is the quiet accumulation of choices, identity-shaping choices, habit-shifting choices, discipline-forging choices. You began by redefining who you wanted to become, because no change can outgrow the limits of your self-image. Then you stripped away the habits that diluted your potential, clearing the mental and emotional space for something stronger to take root. You built a daily structure that aligned your time with your intentions, proving to yourself that consistency is not a talent, but a commitment. You strengthened the 2 engines that fuel every part of your life, the body and the mind, so that energy became your ally rather than your obstacle. And finally, you learned to protect your focus, your mindset, and your environment, because growth cannot survive where negativity is allowed to live unchallenged. Together, these steps form not just a plan, but a philosophy. They remind you that greatness is not a mystery, it is a design. It is the willingness to step out of the familiar version of yourself and into the one you know you were meant to become. And that path is open to you. Not someday, not when life becomes easier, but now. The deepest lesson hidden in this journey is simple. Your life will expand or contract to the level of standards you consistently uphold. When you raise your standards of how you think, how you act, how you treat your time, how you care for your body, how you respond to challenges, your entire world shifts to match them. And the way to apply this today is to choose one standard you refuse to compromise anymore. Maybe it's your morning routine, your health, your focus, your learning, or your inner circle. Honor that standard for the next 24 hours. Then honor it again tomorrow. This is how a new life begins, quietly, deliberately, powerfully. Before you leave, here's a simple question to reflect on. What is the one standard you commit to raising starting today? Please share your answer in the comments so others can learn from your insight. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to support us in creating more meaningful videos ahead.